icebreaker.
John, could you tell where he was from?
Hey, smile.
A little more media from where you guys are from.
Well, I feel very similar. Have a ton of respect for Coach Cohen and their program and their players. They've kind of gone down the same path that we did. They didn't win their conference. They went on the road in the super regionals like we did and had a terrific run through Virginia. And we had to go to Fullerton. They won their bracket in 3 games as we did. So I see a lot of similarities. They got terrific pitching, great starters. Their bullpen is as good as the bullpen in the country. When you have two guys coming out of the bullpen with 22 wins and 0 starts, that's hard to describe. So offensively, they're tough-minded. They're versatile. They can run. They have some left-handed hitters. They have some right-handed power, of course. So we're honored and privileged to be in this position and given the opportunities. We have good players. They know how to play. They like each other. They like to compete. There's a lot of qualities, I think, on both sides of the ball that really sets up for a great national championship series. So we're excited and looking forward to the challenge.
It's real exciting. It's been a long road to get here, and I've taken the ball Friday nights the last two years. So preparation's not much different. I'm just gonna focus on what I do and executing pitches, and that's pretty much it. What's not to like about Mississippi State's team? Big Wes Ray gives a hug to the umpire after he punches him out and says you missed that one and walks away, there's not too many guys in the country that can do that. So, they're likable guys. I played with Adam Frazier this summer, and, nice slow draw, and he's a smooth talker, and they're a fun ball club to watch.
Mississippi State's a great team. They play real loose and have a lot of fun. And we do have a lot of respect for them, and they're a great team. They come from the SEC. That's great baseball, and they have fantastic beards as well.
I'm not sure there's a lot of pressure there. We've played with each other all year long, and there's a lot of trust. And so, I'm sure you can look at it one way and say that that's a lot of pressure to hold a team, but at the same time, there's a lot of trust in the guys behind you, and we fielded with the best teams in the country. Our fielding percentage is really good, and the trust comes from the defensive side too, as well as the offensive side.
I think we've been getting better all year. Each series throughout the year, we've continued to strive and get better and grow as a team. So, I wouldn't pinpoint one series that I knew, but one thing that comes to mind is the Fullerton Super Regional. We kind of came together as a team when no one thought we would win a game there, and that was real special.
Me, it was actually we beat LMU 2 out of 3, but we lost on that Sunday, and it was kind of like a wake-up call, I felt, for our team. And we all came pretty close together after that, and we said, we gotta play better. We gotta finish weekends, and we gotta handle details better. And that's when I felt like we started playing a better style of baseball. With everything that ESPN did this year with the bases loaded and all that kind of stuff, you were able to watch a lot of other teams around the country, and I really started watching teams on both sides of the bracket. It didn't matter, the SEC and the Pac-12 and ACC, all those teams. It was a really fun couple weeks to watch college baseball.
It's 2 totally different worlds. LA's big city, you got the beach, you got a lot of things to do, and Starkville is Starkville. Can't say I've ever visited, but some bass fishing does sound pretty good. So maybe after the season ends, I'll hit up Starkville. But yeah, as they said, two great teams. Doesn't matter where you come from, we're still playing the same game, and it's going to be a hell of a series, and I can't wait.
The bass fishing on the video games and the big game hunting, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty similar there. But no, it's style of baseball. Where you're from doesn't matter, and Major Leagues proves that. Guys from the Dominican that have nothing, or guys from here that have everything. It's just baseball when it comes down to it.
Coming from UCLA, the first thing you think of is Coach Wooden, and he's the coach of all coaches. He set the groundwork for so many staffs, so many programs outside of basketball that it's hard to put into words what he's meant to the UCLA family, the UCLA community, and all coaches across the entire country. From football, basketball, baseball, everything. So everybody goes to his messages, his pyramid of success. I think a lot of people have part of that in their coaching philosophy. So we look up to Coach Wooden. He's been our leader forever and ever, and that's where it starts. UCLA baseball. This is our 9th year. And like Coach said, it takes time. It takes time to build that sort of environment and attitude that you want in your players. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not only tough going up, but it's tougher staying there. Like Coach said, with as many people around you that have good players, good facilities, good weather, certainly finances, it's challenging. And you have to have a lot of pieces in the right place. And, fortunately for us, we've had great assistant coaches. We've had very good players. We've had some star players. We've had some grind players. So we've had a combination of things. And it's hard work, from Coach Bruce to Coach Peters and Coach Silverman, their recruiting efforts to everybody, from academic support to strength coach, and everything matters in a good program. And I think until you realize that, you're not going to be in a position, that the great programs are. So it's through hard work and, through everyday details and setting a culture to where you give yourself an opportunity, your preparation, and you don't. The results are tough. It's baseball. I mean, you don't win every time you go out there. We'd all like to, but it's much more of a difficult game than sometimes people realize. But if you prepare and you set yourself up, then good things eventually will come your way. Playing for a national championship in 2010 against a Southeastern Conference team. I just got to see firsthand how good South Carolina was. Coach Tanner and his staff, they lost the first game that year and battled back and were, very, very competitive and a great team. So it's similar in the sense that, there's 2 brackets and you focus on your bracket, you focus on your game. You have, you definitely have an eye on the other one, and we're familiar with Oregon State, and we know how good they are, and they beat them twice. And I think that says a lot. They were a national seed. I think we have one player from 2010, Cody Regis. He's been to Omaha 3 years out of 4. So he's given some insight in terms of just what to expect. And, you just got to go with it, and you got to believe in your team at the time that you're in it. Just players, great coaches, depth, tools, recruiting. A lot of both those conferences are getting some of the best players that are going to college. Professional baseball is signing a lot of players right now, and it's difficult to be able to hold on to guys. I don't care where you're at; they're going to find them, and it's just it's a rich tradition, from Rod Dado to Jerry Kindle, to Mark Marquez, and you've had some phenomenal programs and coaches. So I'm just honored to be a small part of it, really, and trying to make UCLA a relevant program in the national scene year in and year out. And looking at this, I was at USC in the late 90s, and that's when my first introduction to LSU was, and in 98, and then again in 2000, and Skip Berman, Coach Polk, of course, at Mississippi State. Those are the founding fathers of college baseball in those conferences. So, I'm just honored to be, like I said, a part of it, and trying to, carry the Pac-12 flag into the national picture. It's not a surprise because there's only a few teams that have one. Certainly, USC having 12, and then LSU, and it goes down from there. There's 4s and 3s and 2s, so it's not like they hand them out. Let's be clear on that. You have to earn it. So Coach Adams, who I respect very much, was at UCLA for 30 years, came here in 1997. They had some great teams, some teams that were close. We do pay attention to that. We do hear about that. We're aware of it, but I think right now it's our goal is to be ourselves, and because that's been good enough. And we need to come out and play the way we're capable of, and play Bruin baseball. So, but the national championship is always going to hang over any program that's an elite program that hasn't won one. You could probably mention 25 schools. We just happen to be 2 of them that are playing for that one prize. So it's you got to at least have a shot on goal, and we both do have that opportunity, but both teams have earned that right. I'd say it's accurate just because of the recent success. Pitching has been our main, I don't want to say focus, but I guess we've had some really good recruits that have passed up professional baseball. Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer, of course, would be 2 significant guys that established our program. It's been pitching that's kind of put our stamp on our program. I really thought in 10, when the bats were somewhat still, I thought the bats hurt us in 2011 with Cole and Bauer, because it made some average pitchers closer to those guys. Well, those guys could pitch against any bats, and then I think we kind of found our footing on it a little bit again in 12. So from afar, I think you would have to say that. And it's West Coast a little bit. We just don't have the physicalness as I look at it as the Southeastern Conference, and the bodies and the speed. And you look at our team, sometimes I look out there and go, oh God, we're stretching, and it's not a real physical looking team. And I think everybody in the room knows that, but they're ball players, they're baseball players, and we have good players and we have talent, but it's just a little different way of creating a team. And so I think the bat has helped. I've also learned a lot from Coach Gillespie during that time when I got to USC and the bats were hot, and he taught me the emphasis on pitching and defense and details. And so it's a transformation a little bit, but at the same time, you have to bob and weave, and you have to make adjustments in this game. And rather than sit there and complain about what bat manufacturer is making them and the size of the ballpark, and I mean, come on. I mean, we keep on talking about certain things, and it gets back down to good teams and good players. That's why you see, I think, teams not being in a position where they are in terms of excuse-wise. Then you see some teams that are still locked in and focused on what they need to do.